growth will be lower as a result of the war in Ukraine, and inflation is and will be higher. I mean, the world economy was recovering very strongly, was recovering more rapidly than we had anticipated. And then we have Russia's unprovoked, unjustifiable, illegal war of aggression, and that has had a negative impact on the economy, clearly.
Right, but as central banks, I mean, we can have a sort of a fairly moot argument about whether or not they were behind the curve or not, should they have moved sooner, but the reality is they are moving now. How significant do you expect the rate rises to be?
Well, I mean, before the war, the inflation story was different in different parts of the world.
But it still was still there.
It was there, but there was an expectation that supply blockages and supply challenges were going to ease, and that it was over time that inflation pressure was going to ease. Now we're in a situation where, of course, I mean, inflation is a big problem, and central banks across the world, including in the US and in particular in the US, have clearly signaled that they will take whatever measures are required to get on top of inflation.
I know that the Fed can affect a soft landing. Do you think they will have a soft landing?
Well, I mean, I think that the Fed is very conscious of the need to make decisions now and not to wait, and to take whatever decision is required to ensure that we have the best chance of a soft landing, for sure.
Okay, but if you look at, for example, the war, its effect, the energy costs and the inflation, and then you have the issue of the food insecurity, which is just going to be horrendous.
Well, all of the issues that you're raising are related to the war, and there's a lot of things we don't know there. I mean, we don't know how much longer the war will go. We don't know how much worse it will get. I mean, if your question is, would the world be better off if the war would stop now? I would say yes, of course. And all of these issues would not be as challenging and not be as bad.
But if we just take the war as being, you can't take it to one side, but
you can't.
No, you can't. But what's the thing that bothers you the most?
Well, I mean, clearly the world was recovering strongly, and some of the inflationary pressures actually came from the strength and the speed of the recovery. So that's important to understand. Then, in some parts of the world, there were demand pressures. In other parts, there were supply pressures. So the inflation story wasn't quite the same. Right now, what worries me the most is how much longer is this terrible, atrocious war going to last, and how much more damage is it going to do to the people of Ukraine and to people around the world.
On the other side of the world, you still have China locked down, and likely to be in some form of variation of lockdown for the foreseeable future. Where does that fit into the ability for the developed economies to grow?
Well, I mean, it has one, it's one of the downside risks, obviously. I mean, China is a very significant trading nation. It's a significant exporter, and having big ports in China affected by lockdowns has an impact on global supply chains. And whatever makes global supply chains less efficient is bad for the economy. And so, of course, it would be preferable in China and in other parts of the world if we could get on top and remain on top of the pandemic.
Now take your one hat off and put the other hat on. I'm just going to make it quite clear that I'm now moving from your role as that Secretary to former Cabinet Minister and Australian politician. Were you surprised that the party, Scott Morrison, lost as he did?
Well, look, I love Australia. Australia is an awesome country. In my view, it's the best country in the world. We are a strong and vibrant democracy, and the people of Australia have spoken. In Australia we know how to manage a peaceful transfer of power. And I wish, and we all wish, Anthony Albanese and his government very well. We want him to do the best he can for Australia, and he has my best wishes and congratulations.